I tried to keep my pregnancy a secret, but my colleagues and friends turned it into gossip, betting on the father and spreading hurtful rumors. I'm 7 months pregnant with a child I plan on giving to a wonderful couple. Closed adoption. I made this choice because the child was the product of non-consensual sex. I didn't press charges because I was a bit of a party girl and didn't think I would be believed. I honestly have no idea who the guy was. I just remember trying to push him off and being too drunk to do so. My choice to not press charges. My choice to keep the pregnancy. My choice to adopt out. I am comfortable with these choices. They are private and personal, and I'm keeping most of this to myself. My asshole friends and co-workers have turned it into a game. I was hiding the pregnancy until I started really showing a couple weeks ago. I get that people are curious about it. It's rather surprising. But I saw a betting pool being passed around the office. They are placing bets on who is the father. I was shocked and a little hurt. My friends are also curious. I have one close friend who basically knows everything. She's going to be in the room for the birth for me, and she's not telling anyone. So rumors are starting. One terrible rumor is that it's my, now former, friend Karen's husband Troy's baby. Karen called me in tears. I went over to her house to tell her to her face that it wasn't possible. She demanded to know the truth. I told her it was none of her business and she blasted me on FB. Some friends have been really nice to my face, but everything gets back to me eventually. Some people are saying that I'm a paid surrogate. I guess that one is okay. I hate that people are talking about me like this. I made one blanket statement on FB yesterday. I guess I can't hide it anymore. Yes, I am pregnant. I am giving a lovely couple the child they have tried to have for years. It's very personal and private, and I ask that you all respect that. It's got a bunch of comments, but I haven't read them. I'm going to take a big break from social media. I don't know what else to do or say. I am uncomfortable with everyone's constant questions. I love my job and usually my co-workers. It's my hope that I can suck it up and go back to normal in a few months. Weirdly, I've got great inner peace with everything because I am so happy to be giving the adopting parents, who are the kindest men I have ever met, a kindergarten teacher and a social worker, something they could never have on their own. Here's what I need from the readers of this sub. What can I say that isn't a lie but will shut people up without giving out information I'm not comfortable sharing? I don't like calling her, the baby is female, an accident. The two people who know the whole truth, my friend and my doctor, immediately asked me why I didn't report it. I'm ashamed and humiliated. I really don't want to say much of anything. I think a big part of why this is so hard for me and those around me is that I'm usually really talkative and social, loudmouthed. I'm in sales, so now that I'm showing, I'm also dealing with these questions from strangers too. Should I go to my manager about the pool? Laugh it off? Wait for it all to blow over? TL.dr. I need to figure out what to tell people about my unplanned pregnancy in a polite but firm way that will make them stop speculating. Update 1. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm glad I posted this. I had a good cry, took an antacid, or 4, and went to the owner, Jim. I told him the truth, and I told him that I really didn't want the guys to know and I needed the jokes and talk to stop because it was hurting me. He hugged me and told me he was proud of me, which made me cry again. Fucking hormones. He gathered the staff and had a quick, what he calls come to Jesus, meeting. He announced that he would fire anyone who made me uncomfortable about my pregnancy on the spot and that all the money from the pool needed to end up on my desk, pronto. He was great. He didn't share any of my personal info, he just protected me and made it quick and easy. After we dispersed, he told me I could have an additional week paid medical. I already have 2 weeks sick vacation I haven't used. I am going to text and talk to my friend and tell her she can subtly let people know what happened, especially Karen. This baby bump is sales gold. I just landed a big commission while sitting. I still think, as great as Jim is, I need to get out of this town. I'll always be a trailer park slut to people around here. My mama died when I was really young and I acted out a lot after that. Everyone knows what I did and won't let me forget. Despite working my ass off to graduate, working my way up to sales lead, buying my home and fixing it up myself. I'm sick of Oklahoma. I'm thinking maybe somewhere in Oregon or Washington. Real pretty up there. Again, thank you for all the kind and helpful advice. I feel so much better. This has always been one of my favorite subs to lurk. Thanks. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Your friends and colleagues are assholes. Tell people simply that you are not sharing details. Keep it simple. Sounds like you do have one decent caring friend. After this was over, I would consider launching a fresh start. Given the circumstances of the pregnancy and how everybody is reacting, at least get some counseling to deal with this and maybe plot out some goals and desires of the kind of life you really want. Sorry you have had such a bad experience. OOP, I am thinking about a new start, actually. I love my field, building material sales, and can do it anywhere. I don't have any family. My house would sell for double what I owe. I've been researching towns that I've always liked. My doctor gave me a referral for a therapist, but I wasn't interested. Maybe I should give it a go. Thanks. OOP on why she chose not to reveal anything to her friends about her unplanned pregnancy. I really don't want people knowing what happened to me. Like I said in my post, the first reaction was, why didn't you report it? I hate that I didn't. I hate that some dude is out there, thinking he can do that. I hate that I used to drink so much. I hate that because I used to drink a lot and hook up a lot that people think so little of me. I just don't want everyone to know. I don't want this little girl to ever find that out. Did OOP report the situation to HR? OOP. We're a smallish outfit, we don't have HR. We have an owner-manager, who I really respect and is kind of like a second father to me. We're 7 guys and me. I've always been one of the guys about this kind of stuff. I should go to the owner and tell him what's up. I've been avoiding him. I've been avoiding everyone. I don't want to be pitied, but this shit is worse. I'm all over the place, sorry. I'm shut in my office with the worst heartburn I have ever felt trying not to cry. OOP should consider about leaving her job. OOP. I still have to work with these guys for another couple months, 40, 50 hours a week. Maybe longer, I'm still deciding. They just got their PPs smacked by work daddy for being insensitive in a place where we regularly tease each other for everything. They did something stupid, but I still want to get along with them. Update 2. I had a few PMs asking for updates and how everything went. It's been a wild ride. I am posting this from a freezing, but spectacular, beachside hotel on the coast of Oregon. I had a job interview this morning that I feel really great about and 2 more lined up. My house sold fast and I have some money to live on and start fresh. And do I ever need a fresh start? A few days after I made that post, rumors started up again. I was pregnant with my boss's baby, some of you call that. And then it was a coworker's. And then my friend's husband again. To save face, I asked my friend to tell the right blabbermouths the truth. That backfired, hard. Someone, or some people I don't know, started posting on Craigslist about me and the baby. There's this section called rants and raves, but I guess people just post garbage there. I looked at some of the posts and someone really has it out for me. They said I was crying rape because I was too slutty to know who the father was. They called me the worst names. I flagged what I could, but new posts kept popping up. I tried to ignore it. I had a good friend write me this long-ass text about how I was making it all worse with my rape story. I was devastated. I guess my prior life and reputation are all people there will ever think of me. I kept my head down and just tried to forget it all. It was affecting my work. I put my house up for sale and made a plan to GTFO. I was at 38 weeks and had resigned my position. My wonderful boss told me I could come back, but I don't want to. I was selling most of my belongings and packing what mattered to me. There's a knock on my door, real late. Later, folks should be knocking. It was a man I kinda know from the bar scene. He was drunk and angry. He told me it was maybe his baby and I had no right to call it rape. I remember talking to him that night, but I really don't remember it being him, but I don't remember anything other than pushing him off and wishing I was stronger. I told him to go home and to leave me alone. I'm trying to be brief, but he made the next week hell for me. He was harassing me at my house every day and calling at all hours. He was threatening me and demanding a paternity test. I was terrified that he was going to mess up the adoption. I was growing more and more scared for my safety too. I couldn't sleep or eat. My friend came over and we called the police and told them everything. The officer who came to my house was great. I don't know what they said to him, but it worked and he left me alone. I went into labor the next week. I ended up getting a C-section because the baby had turned and was breech. One of her fathers ended up holding my hand. My friend was there but only one was allowed in the room. He got to cut the cord. The baby was perfectly healthy and beautiful. She had this thick dark hair and the chubbiest cheeks. Her fathers were instantly and madly in love. They took her home the next day. I had to stay a while because of the surgery. It was the hardest 3 days of my life. The hospital sent a therapist in and she was helpful. When I was released, I spent a few days in a luxury hotel with my dear friend. I never went home. I paid someone to pack my stuff for me. I spent the next 2 months at my grandmother's house in Texas, recovering and thinking and waiting for the cash from the sale of my house. I was terrified I would get a call that the man from the bar had somehow fucked up the adoption, but it hasn't come and I grew less worried. I honestly don't care who the father is. I just want the baby to have a good life. I continued to see another therapist. When I felt well enough, we packed my rig and I took off. There was a vague plan to head west and find it. I went to the Grand Canyon. I saw the Great White Sands. I spent an entire freezing day staring at the ocean in Santa Monica. I did the trip cheap, mostly sleeping in my car in cheap hotels. I spent time in every place that I found beauty. I landed here, at the prettiest place I've ever seen. I got a good rate at a motel and got an Oregon driver's license. I thought about changing my name too, but I don't want to change who I am. Just the where. Wow, this ended up being a novel. Thanks again. TL.dr. I put up with more awfulness and had the baby. She is with her family and loved. I got the fuck out of Dodge. I'm happy. Well, I'm working on being happy. I feel free. Relevant comments. OOP moving out of town, start fresh, make new social media accounts. OOP, excellent advice. I used to love Facebook. I have cousins and such that I can only really contact through it. But I disabled my account during the Craigslist nonsense and I don't miss it. I got a new phone number too and only gave it to a few people I want to hear from. I was a little worried about no social media presence and getting a new job, but I'll cross that bridge if it comes up. I have a glowing recommendation from my old job and a proven record of success. That should be enough. Everyone here has been so nice. Not Oklahoma nice, that's just nosy nice. People here are chill and kind-hearted. The manager of the hotel I'm calling home at the moment, she just gives rooms to the homeless when it's cold. Doesn't make a big deal about it either. And the kids at the coffee shop I like are all real artsy and funny. I haven't met a mean or snarky person yet. I know I'm new, but it already feels like home in a way. Now to the next story, story 2. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I won't follow his family's tradition for naming our child? Original post, me, 21F, and my boyfriend, let's call him Alex, 23M, have been dating for about 3 years now. We've recently begun talking about marriage and kids, something we both eventually want to have. The other day a reel popped up on my FYP of cute boy names and I saw the name Everett. I thought it was adorable and jokingly told him how it has to be our firstborn's name. He laughed and said he liked it, but it'll have to wait for the second kid. I was confused and asked him why. He told me that his family has a tradition that every firstborn boy in the family has the same name. His oldest brother has it, his uncle has it, his grandfather has it, and so on. For the sake of privacy and how oddly unique the name is, I'm not going to say it. I'm not judging in the slightest, but this is a weird name and it's honestly not my favorite. I would never say that to any of his family members, but I did tell Alex I'm not a huge fan of it. I told him I don't really want to follow those footsteps and he got upset and told me he can't be the one to break the tradition. He told me I was being an asshole for suggesting anything else. I told him I won't change my mind and we should make it a middle name or find another compromise. Alex has 5 siblings. The tradition will continue if he doesn't do it. And frankly, I think I should get a say in what I name my kid. I told him since I'm the one carrying the hypothetical child for 9 months and it would already be getting Alex's last name, I should have some say in the first name. For context, I have 2 siblings, both girls. I'm the youngest and my eldest sisters are both married and took their husbands' last names. It makes me a little sad that when I marry Alex, my last name will go out of existence. I've talked to him about hyphenating ours, something he doesn't want to do. But anyways, I really don't want to name our firstborn son, if we ever even have a boy, that name. He thinks I'm whining for no reason. Since we don't even have a kid yet and I'm not pregnant? But I think my concerns are valid. I've told some friends about it and most of them think I'm overreacting over something that doesn't even exist yet. So am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I don't want to follow his family's tradition? Some of OOP's comments. Commenter, great conversation to have before marriage and kids. You get to decide if this is a deal breaker for you. What other subjects does he believe you have no say in? OOP, downvoted. The thing is, we get along great. We've had minor disagreements, but never argued over anything this big until now. For all the people saying break up, he's really a great guy. He thinks my last name is weird, which to be quite honest, it is LOL. It doesn't make me any less sad about eventually losing it. This is our first big argument and I think it's why I'm at such a loss. Commenter, and not even his own name, his big brother's name. Is every kid meant to name their first son that name? All the cousins are Gustavo or whatever? OP, all oldest sons are supposed to have it. His dad wasn't the oldest son. So yes, a bunch of his nephews will all hold the same name at some point. Commenter, In reply to previous commenter listed above. That's what I wondered too. I feel like he doesn't even understand his own tradition. I think it's just one per generation, not every firstborn to every sibling. OP. That's what I thought too until I met him. It's not a cultural thing. I've politely asked. If it was, I'd be a lot more understanding. It's just an odd tradition. Commenter. My question is, if all his siblings follow this tradition, won't there be like 4, 5 kids with the same name in the same family within the same age range? That would already have me saying no. Can you imagine going to a family get-together and trying to call for your son and his 4 other cousins to also come running because they have the same name? No thank you. NTAOOP, yes, there would. And I've pointed that out, and he's admitted to me that sometimes it was annoying on family camping trips when he'd yell his cousin's name and 3 others would turn around. Which confuses me, because why would he want to continue that? Answers to various questions. We've talked about at least 2 kids close in age later in life. Right now we live pretty close to his family. My family lives on the other side of the country. I've expressed moving closer to my family when I finish nursing school, something he hasn't expressed disinterest in. His family is very religious while I'm not. Alex isn't really either, and he's moved away as he's gotten older. Commenter. It's a tradition in your and most family that the kids have a unique name chosen by their parents. LOL, why would his tradition be more important? Why would he unilaterally choose a name? Also, if you want you can keep your last name, OOP. Downvoted? I know that, but he finds the idea of me eventually taking his romance, and I do too. It's complicated, and maybe I do sound like I'm whining for no reason, LOL. I like his last name plenty, it's just the idea of mine twinkling out of existence makes me a little sad. And if none of my kids could take it, it wouldn't matter that I kept it. It would still be gone one day. Commenter. The issue isn't the name, the issue is your BF's attitude toward you having ideas that differ from his. He dismisses your wants, and puts his family's tradition ahead of you. To him, it's not even a discussion. That's actually a little scary. You give 2 examples of him being inflexible, your last name and a baby name. I'll bet you can think of other incidents that fit this pattern too. This is a glimpse into your future. Are you sure you want the rest of your life to look like this? OP, we don't argue really at all, but we've had one big argument in our relationship and he's already ignoring me too. He's been sleeping in the guest room and won't talk to me when I try to sit down. An hour before I posted this, he texted me saying he needed space and that was it. I didn't want to lose him and I didn't know where else to go, so I came here. I just want to thank you all for your comments and support. I didn't know I could get this much advice and I'm beyond grateful for it. It's given me a lot to think about. Mini update in comments. 14 hours later. I have no idea how to make an update, but I feel like I owe it to you all to make one when the time comes, so please let me know how. LOL. As of right now, I just texted him and told him that when he gets home from work we need to have a serious conversation and I have some important things to tell him. Not totally sure what those are yet, but I'm going to find a way to start the convo. Update post, November 10th, 2024, 2 days from OG post. So, we talked. I pulled him aside after he finished work and we sat down and had a long conversation. I told him that I felt hurt that he doesn't seem to be caring about my feelings and I never intended for a joke about TikTok names to turn into all of this. I took your guys' advice and was really honest with telling him how I was really sad about the fact that I would lose my last name when we did eventually get married. At first he seemed confused and said if it really mattered that much to me, I could just keep my last name and our kids could have his. I told him it seemed counterproductive to keep my last name because one day I'd still die and so would the name. He asked me what I wanted to do about it and we ended up compromising that our first son would have a shortened version of the traditional name that runs in his family. Not a nickname, but we would literally just shorten the name and that would be his. And along with that, when we eventually do get married, we'll hyphenate last names. I will admit Reddit got me a little in my head and had me thinking we would break up over this, so I was pretty emotional during this conversation. LOL. I know this isn't the super exciting update you guys wanted. I also showed him the post and he read some of the comments. This is a direct quote from him, something he wanted me to tell you guys. Thank you for helping my name, while I was being a dick. I don't really think he was being a dick now that I've seen his side, but he's also worried he has people after him now, LOL. He really is a sweet guy and this wasn't anything to break up over. When we talked he expressed that he was hurt because as much as the tradition seemed silly, it was something he had always been looking forward to eventually doing. We're not engaged yet, but I have a feeling something might happen this Christmas. We'll see. But yeah, I cannot believe how much that post blew up and you guys really helped me and Alex out. Thank you all for the support. Top comments. Miss Fear? I'm personally happy when I see an update with no drama. I'm glad you were able to discuss it and compromise. It's a good sign for your relationship. External_expert_2069. If he was uncompromising, I think it would totally be breakup worthy. Fortunately, it ended up completely different, and that's awesome. You both listened to each other and came up with a plan. As long as he doesn't call you an asshole and a whiner moving forward, this is solid. Efrendel, so, you're telling me that you two sat down, had a mature conversation, and worked out your differences? Well damn. Overall_search_3207. Overall good update, and I agree that Reddit is big on the instant breakup reaction. However, I do think this should serve as a wake-up call to him that it's time to grow up and really understand the position y'all are in. If you are looking to get married, he has to realize that you are becoming adults and he should act like one. When my wife expresses a concern, especially about children, that concern is as important if not more to me than any concern I have. I am sure he can grow and realize it, but better sooner rather than later.